What's going on, guys? Yogizilla here, and I wasn't sure if I started recording properly, so I'm kind of like meh. But yeah, welcome to the Geektastic vlog, my Geektastic vlog, Yogizilla branded, Yogizilla approved. That's kind of douchey referring yourself in third person, but anyway, that's my brand. I've been Yogizilla for a long time, since the 90s, late 90s specifically. Yeah. Mid 90s, but I really started using it a lot, like 98, 99. That's when I really started using the name a lot, I would say. But anyway, that's besides the point. We have a lot of stuff to talk about today, and it's about dinner time, and I'm running late with my schedule because a bunch of stuff going on as usual over at geekyantics.net in particular. But let me some Hearthstone tidbits. So last week we talked about Rogue, and how Rogue is kind of OP, and with that, there's a lot of decks in Hearthstone right now that pretty much ruling the meta and making everything else less fun to play. It's just not viable to run anything other than, say, a Handlock, maybe a Zulak Warlock. That's redundant, I know. So Handlock or Zulak, which is a Warlock, they're both Warlock decks. On opposite side of the spectrum, by the way. Miracle Rogue, and those are pretty much the big ones I've seen. Control Hunter is still good, and but it's still more budget. And then I have been seeing a lot more Shaman, and it's a Shaman with the Wind Fury mechanic and Overload. It's pretty scary. But yeah, those are the main ones I've been seeing myself. It gets a little different when you should go up higher levels, higher tiers on like ranked, for example. And arena is a whole different thing, but constructed play, very interesting. I think Druid's gonna come up once Curse of Naxxramas is officially out. It's already coming up, but it's gonna be a big deal. But anyway, back to Rogue. My problem with Rogue is that when I play Rogue, she tends to fall off late game. I have a similar experience with Control Warrior, and the exception is if you have expensive cards, expensive deck, then you know you're gonna be destroying people. It's very frustrating to play against those expensive decks too, because no one likes to pay to win, a pay to win experience. And I still stick by what I've said. Hearthstone is certainly not that kind of thing, but there are times when it's a lot more work to run a budget deck or to run a free-to-play deck. But I do believe you should tip the developer in some way, whether you're introducing new friends to the game or you're buying decks, But just that real quick. I don't want to get too heavy into Hearthstone today because I'm gonna be streaming later and probably rambling on more about it. And I'm gonna be doing more Hearthstone. But yeah, season 2. Almost over. This is the last week of season 2. We got about 6 days left. So expect that I will do some heavy Hearthstone playing this week. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you go visit me at twitch.tv/Yogizilla, and also our network channel, twitch.tv/GeekyAntics. And you should see all the stuff down there. Yeah, right down there. So yeah, this YouTwitch thing. Basically, Google's been on a $30 billion spending spree. And this is kind of risque talking about this on YouTube, right? But, there's a bid for Twitch. It's inevitable that YouTube and Twitch are gonna be combined in some way. I just hope they do not become one and the same. But you notice my backdrop is supposed to say YouTwitch. Let me just show you real quick. See? YouTwitch. It's gonna be a thing. Hopefully, Twitch will be kept as an autonomous entity, and this will be more of a partnership with Google pretty much being the parent company. That's the optimal situation for everybody. If YouTube absorbs Twitch, or better said, if Twitch is absorbed into YouTube, it's gonna suck. So we'll see what happens, but we did talk quite a bit about it at on episode 23 of Horseplay Live, which you can get us. You can listen anywhere where podcasts can be found. And you can also check us out on allgames.com Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. Definitely check that out. And then bring the conversation over to Geektastic.net. I just noticed I have a misspelling here on Twitch. ADD for the win. Or OCB. Which one would it be? Whatever. Anal retentive. That'd be more OCB, right? So yeah. Geektastic.net, we'll have a discussion about that, and we're going to be talking about Twitch quite a bit, following the evolution of Twitch, or de-evolution, regression perhaps. Hopefully it'll be evolution. We're going to try to keep it positive, but there's some things that people should be aware of. So let's just segue to our last topic, or topics for the day. They go hand in hand. Basically, how do you grow your audience on Twitch? And what does authenticity mean? And why is it important? I have a kitten sleeping behind me here in the man cave. I'm making sure she's okay. So let's talk about that. There we go. I like that view better. You can see all my games on the side. Haha! Now, the thing is, when you check out the videos and blogs that give you supposed magic bullets, the secret sauce to succeeding on Twitch, they either mention things that are illegal against the terms of service on Twitch, or they mention things that are pretty much obvious. The issues that people have on Twitch don't have to do with the primary issues. They don't have to do with production quality, the hardware that you're running, the technical aspects. Those are the easiest things to pick up. There's plenty of guides for that. The issues people have are with branding, social media, engagement, authenticity, and transparency. Wow, I can't even talk right now. I'm really hungry, guys, so I gotta try to wrap this up because dinner time. Smelling good. And those are all those things are marketing issues. A lot of people do not have the marketing background, and yeah, they could, you know, people end up rallying support of people that do have the skills, either through mutual exchange of services or just being likable enough. You know, women tend to have this leverage more than so than men. That's be sexist. But I notice a lot of my female friends that do Twitch streaming, because they're women, they get a lot of freebies, they get a lot of reduced price services. You know, everybody jumps at the opportunity to help them because they might get a shout out and might form a relationship with them, maybe, you know, a bond, and then might turn to a deeper relationship. You know, and a lot of the guys, especially, they have dreams of, oh, I'll marry her one day. You know the whole thing. That's kind of how it goes down. I'm not hating, but it is the way it goes down. So it's a struggle regardless whether you're male or female, because even if you know you have all the skills yourself, or you have a good mastermind group, a good support team that's gonna be there for you, most people do not get the real things that make people successful. And they look at the people that already have a lot of followers, already have a massive audience, and fail to see that those big Twitch streamers either they joined when the opportunity was most ripe and no one was really there, so they just had timing on their side, or they had some kind of gimmick, all right, and or niche, better yet. And again, we go back to the whole joke. Well, you know, the women, all they do is show cleavage. That's not always true. It is very common, and a lot of guys are there in hopes that they might see a nipple slip or something. I hate to say it, but you know, that's what guys think about, because they're not going there to see how good the girl is in the game. You know, so they don't even care about your personality. It's just like, well, maybe she'll acknowledge me. I might get a chance of something cool. You know, something naughty maybe. You know, that's the thing too. You have to understand. You know, some people, they get they already have. All right, let's talk about first about established personalities. They may already have an audience somewhere else, and then they can easily transfer it over. YouTube's the easiest transition, obviously. And then they might be part of a sponsored team, a professional gaming team. That's the easy transition to Twitch because people are already following you. And there's other areas too, but social media as a whole, if you have an audience, it does transfer over. But it's easier when it's related to gaming or videos. So that's one thing to think about. But for the rest of us, you have to kind of think about what is it that really attracts you to a Twitch stream, a channel. And what are you going to do? Are you going to be the person that plays a variety of games? Or are you going to focus on just 1 or 2 games? And that's going to be a thing. Laser focus on just that. Are you looking to become a pro gamer? Are you looking to show off your skill? Are you looking to maybe help out newer players and provide a more accessible, beginner-friendly perspective on the games of choice? Maybe your thing is just humor. Maybe your thing is just, cursing up a storm and being irritable. There's people that do get by on that shtick, and they attract the trolls. And it's one of the more popular ways of building a channel. Personally, that's not the way I want to form my brand, but that's what some people do that because trolls, they love bringing other trolls with them. And there's different ways to kind of cement yourself. But when you talk about branding, you have to think about what do I want to represent, what do I want my voice to be, what's kind of gonna be not so much a gimmick, and maybe that has a negative connotation, but what's my hook? What's my voice? And is it consistent with everything else I'm doing? Because this is where we get into authenticity. I support a lot of streamers, especially the smaller ones. The big ones, they don't need me throwing my support behind them. They got their thing going on already. So I like the smaller streamers that have maybe 50 to 1K viewers at once. Tops. Usually that's what I stick to, because you get that more tightly knit community, that one-on-one engagement, and it feels more like a real gathering as opposed to watching someone sitting down just kind of zoned out. Some people like that, and I'm not saying you have to set your hair on fire, but I don't want to watch someone that's just sitting there going click, click. No. So you gotta have some kind of thing that attracts people. Now, some people say, "Oh, well, geeks and gamers in general are introverted, so you should have a more subdued tone. You should have a voice that's relatable." Not really, because geek culture, gaming culture has spread very wide. There's all types now. And you just kind of gotta be consistent about it, and be true to yourself, and you will attract the kind of people that you want to attract, as long as you're real. And be careful about being a faker. I'm actually gonna talk about all this stuff a lot more over at geektastic.net. But I'm gonna talk about and I know I've gone off on a bunch of tangents here, but I'm gonna talk about a dude that tried to play the card of being disabled. And he got caught. He got caught really bad. This guy got, in just a few months, he got like $20,000 in donations. Alright? Nothing wrong with that. I consider this real work. It's, for some it's a hobby, but for me it's real work. I love gaming, I love everything about it. I love gaming as a gamer, as a designer, developer, as a journalist. At all levels, I love gaming. But this guy, he just slapped his audience in the face. Because it wasn't just that he was lying about being crippled, because he got up from his chair during the stream and forgot the camera and was on. But it's the fact that he's spending that money on stupid things like buying a really expensive aquarium and rubbing in people's faces. I feel like donations on on Twitch should go towards things that are relevant to what you're doing. Upgrading your computer, doing giveaways, traveling to meet some of your viewers and going to conventions, you know, stuff like that. You know, getting a new camera, getting I mean, that's all equipment stuff. You might want to get a mixing board. You may want to get a better microphone. There's a lot of things. Yeah, it's alright to, you know, I think people understand when you spoil yourself a little bit. Everybody deserves that. But I just think it was really dirty how this guy just lied about being crippled, then just went on a spending spree and just got all kinds of like useless stuff. And I don't think he gave back to the community at all. From what I hear from other people, he was the kind of person that would be your friend for a few days, use you for whatever resources you had, and then ignore you. And that's the kind of thing you want to avoid on Twitch or social media in general. There's a lot of one-way, not mutually beneficial relationships where it's just, you do this for me, and maybe if I feel like it, I'll reciprocate. That's terrible. I believe in, you know, one hand washes the others, and do unto others as you'd like done unto you. So stay in the mode of giving as much as you can without spreading yourself thin, obviously, but give as much as you can, support others as much as possible, be what you'd like to see in your audience, and that will come to you. Now mind you, I'm nowhere near the level of some of the A-list or even B-list streamers, but I'm getting there, and I'm actually working with Twitch to become a partner, because I have the social media following. I just haven't converted that over to the video front, because I'm kind of late on joining that. But I finally said, you know what, I need to do this, because the video, no one wants to read anymore, and yeah. I gotta do more than just audio and written word. So here I am on video. You can see my ugly mug. But yeah, there's a lot of things I can say about succeeding in Twitch. But another thing I want to say is when it comes to authenticity, if you say certain things and it's something that you repeat constantly, reinforce it with your actions. For example, I love gratitude. I love when a streamer or a broadcaster, whichever term you prefer, says, I appreciate you guys, or I love you guys, you know, or if they do it on a one-on-one basis, hey, so-and-so, you're great, you know, Obi-Wan X2, you're awesome, I love you, I appreciate the support, hey, Yogizilla, thanks for the subscribe, thanks for the donation, whatever it is, hey, Spathyzilla, thanks for giving me those free game codes, whatever it is, right? But then if you, like, soon after, you, like, kind of poop on people, and I mean, like, let me tell you, one thing that happens on Twitch is people don't understand that when you're playing a game, it's hard to keep up with chat, even if you have 3 or 4 monitors, and they're huge. I mean, whatever you're doing, we get tunnel vision, and it's hard to do engage and play a game at the same time and give them equal priority, you know, or balance them properly. And people don't get that, so when you don't acknowledge them right away, they're like, man, look at this, I'm a long-time viewer and you're not paying attention to me, you know, it's that they don't understand what it feels like to be on the other side. It's really tough, all the things you're doing at once, all the things you're processing at once, you know, and you might be tweeting out, you might be posting on Facebook to get more people to come to your channel. It's a hustle. And if you don't have moderators, if you don't have a staff to help you do all that legwork, you know, it can get overwhelming. It's fun, but it can get really overwhelming. So, you know, with that, on the flip side, there are people that, you know, they say they're all about love, they're all about collaboration, but then they have these silly rules. Facepalm. The rules that are just restrictions for the sake of restrictions. For example, the rules on self-promotion, or the automatic link blocking. I understand why it's there, because there are people that really abuse it, but some of the stuff gets excessive. You know, what you have to think about as a streamer is that people are paying you, whether it's monetary or with their time, they're paying you. They might be sending people over to your channel. If it's a small offense, don't call them out on the stream. It's so tacky because it makes the vibe really uneasy, and people start hiding, they start lurking, and they don't engage you. And without that engagement, you have a dead room. It might have lots of people, but nothing's happening. That's a bad place to be. You know, there's ways to handle things. You might do a side private message if it's not very time sensitive. You might joke about it to just make them aware that they did something that was a little silly, but not scold them. You know, but just straight up saying that's bad and I really don't like that. You know, people, self-promotion I feel like is something that's fine as long as it's in small doses. I encourage it. Everybody should self-promote. I mean, you should do it more, because how else will people know what you're doing? You know, you might not know that I'm a published writer. You know, but and if I can't ever self-promote anywhere, then when the heck am I gonna let you know that? How would you know that? How would you know that I've done game design before? I mean, you know, stuff like that. That, you know, if you have someone in your community, in your audience, that is bringing you supporters, that's plugging you, it's implied that they can get away with a few things. You know, it shouldn't be this totalitarian government of this is my channel and these are my rules. And that kind of stuff really turns people off. I see that way too often, and you know, people are not only messing with their community, but they're also messing with their own cash flow, and they're ruining the experience for themselves and everyone else, because all it takes is this one little awkward moment to spread that awkward vibe and just make people hide in their shells or get defensive and turn on troll mode. So be wary of that. But again, we're gonna talk about the nuances of Twitch and how to really grow your audience, because it's amazing. It boggles my mind. There's so much great content about how to grow your Twitch audience, and most of it is the same regurgitated stuff, focusing on the technical aspects and the things that are not relevant. Because if you're watching the top streamers or listening to top streamers, they don't know what it is like to grow their own audience, because they were never at the place where they had to struggle. If you know, think about the first 10 people that were streaming on Twitch. You know, they had no one to compete with them. So basically, anyone that signed on to Twitch was gonna go to one of those 10 channels. You know, I'm just using an example. That wasn't exactly how I started off, but you know, it's very different. Whenever you know, there's a paradigm shift that happens in every industry, in every marketplace. Whereas the pioneers, they have to go through all the technical issues, but they have the benefit of timing on their side. They may not have all the tools they need, but they have timing on their side. And that's a huge thing to look at, you know. When you have timing inside, you could be the biggest douchebag, you could make all the mistakes you want, but just because you're there first, you have a much easier time. It was like that with blogging. It was like that with social networks. It's been like that with gaming consoles. You know, so many things you look at. You know, the first to market advantage is a really hard one to fight, but at the same time, sometimes those people that were first to market, they stop evolving, they forget their roots, you know, and they get spoiled by the fact that success kind of came easy to them, and they can't replicate that success for themselves or for their team members, you know, or anyone else. So it's important to kind of be aware of that fact. You know, you may want to model some of the best practices other people employ. Oh, they have a nice overlay. Oh, they do giveaways. Oh, they have a fan box that shows the last donation and blah blah blah. Speaking of donations, I think that it's a terrible practice to acknowledge the top donator, because what happens with that is that people feel like they see $100, $200 donation or something or more. They feel, well, I can't top that. Why should I shouldn't even bother donating, you know? Or, I'm not gonna donate because they've got it plenty already. They don't realize that's a one-off thing. I think it should be more about the last donation that was made, or a random donation, or just a random shout out, like a random featured community member. That's important because you want to gamify the whole process, so everybody feels that they have a reward. They have an incentive, that they're making progress within your little subset, your subnet in this ecosystem called Twitch. There's just so many things that are done wrong on Twitch from a marketing perspective, And again, a lot of it's dumb luck. There's plenty of people I know out there that they just know someone that works at Twitch, or they got lucky for whatever reason, and they got a sub button, or they got a featured channel, and they're not particularly engaging. They're not particularly authentic people. They might be mean-spirited. They might not even be good at the game they're playing or the games they're playing. You know, that you have to have something to bring to the table, and realize that even though it is a very liberating thing, it's a job like anything else, because you have a responsibility to your audience. You know, especially once it says subscribing and voting with the wallet, they expect consistency. They expect some kind of schedule, some sort of mainstay, some kind of involvement and input. That's huge. But before I go off on any more tangents, let me get out of here. I'm gonna be posting a full look at Twitch and how to grow your audience, and kind of more universal rules on how to make social media work. But number one thing I can say is have fun doing what you're doing. Don't worry so much about the technical things. Just focus on people, collaboration, cross promotion. Be the change you want to be in the world. Be authentic, be yourself. And you know, whether that means high energy or you're just chill, that's cool. There's an audience there for everyone. Personally, I don't like someone that just sits there and is streaming and doesn't engage at all or talk at all. That's boring. I'd rather watch paint dry. But, you know, some people might like that. So think about those things. Do some really deep digging within yourself and get to know yourself better more than anything else. Maybe as you visit other streamers' channels, as you support others, you might find things that you could relate to that feel like they're right, and you'll adopt them. You might uncover parts of you that maybe you've subdued because you felt conditioned. Maybe you felt that those things were not accepted or they're not acceptable in society. So it's really good to get out there. And again, geekyantics.net, we're gonna have that article hopefully today, Sunday the 20. What's today? What date is it even today? The 25th. Holy Hannah, May 25th, 2014. OP. This is Memorial Day weekend. Hope you guys are barbecuing and having fun. I'm about to eat. I'm hungry. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope that my thoughts resonate. Again, I'm trying to provide a message that's different from what's being said out there. There's a lot of things I think are simplifying it too much, and they're not going to the real pain points that new Twitch streamers, or maybe people that are just recently revived on Twitch, have to face. There's challenges there that go well beyond the technical stuff. The technical stuff is never the bottleneck. It's like, you say, I want to develop a game. Great. I need to learn how to code. That's easy. But do you understand game mechanics? Not really. Do you understand game theory at all? No. Do you understand how to balance the game? Have you ever beta tested the game? Have you ever been a part of a project that's comparable? You know, those are kind of things that are trickier. Anyone could code. You know, that's why there's plenty of code monkeys out there. But do you really understand the theories there, the magic of it all? That's the difference between magic and science. Basically, magic is you know, science that's not understood because maybe you don't take the time to understand it. So I think there really is magic out there. I think there's things that you just kind of stumble upon, maybe it's a fluke, and then you're like, wow, magic. And that happens on Twitch. There's just things that if you just keep doing it, you're having fun doing it, you're passionate, you share it with people openly, and you're excited about sharing it with people, regardless of what criticism you might get. Magically, things start to happen, especially when you're streaming games that are not as popular. There's a lot of niches out there still. League of Legends, Hearthsone, you know, all the big games, they're pretty well covered. So it's hard to build an audience based off of those games, but it's possible. But just find your voice, find your place, get comfortable, and have fun. That's what I can say. But again, geekyantics.net, I'll see you there. And this is Yogizilla. I'm out. Peace.